Welcome to Tame the Taboo. This podcast is brought to you by Discover Her Health. Discover Her Health specializes in healthcare, education, and resources for her most intimate concerns. I'm your host, Nurse Jenna. I'm a women's health and gender-related nurse practitioner, and I am making it my business to take you from sufferer to sensei. So if you are suffering from conditions that are not easily treated in an annual exam, or you want to join me on this journey to become my healthiest, wealthiest, best business owning self, sit back, relax, and enjoy these episodes. Hello. So welcome to another episode of Tame the Taboo. This is a podcast where we aim to make you your healthiest, wealthiest, best self. And I'm so excited. Today we have a very special guest, none other than Alyson Stoner. Welcome to the podcast, Alyson.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always lovely to see your face.
It's you too. So Alyson and I came across each other. We met at an event at the University of Pennsylvania where we were both kind of learning how to approach human design in our businesses. So Alyson, tell us a little bit, or tell our audience a little bit about like what that experience was and how the heck we know each other.
Right. So we met at what was framed to me from one of our investors was a health equity focused conference. And for founders, we were learning about, community-based research approaches, and we were looking at the social and structural determinants of someone's health trajectory, and then thinking about ways to make sure our products, our services are the most accessible. And that's from the ground up. It's not an afterthought that we built something and then we're thinking about the rest of the people who might need it. It's very much, how can this be truly inclusive from the get-go? Because if you're not building with everybody in mind, in some ways, you're kind of adding to health inequity by making it more easily available to the folks who already have it. So we definitely bonded, and I loved learning about everything that you've taken on and everything that you offer as an expert. I mean, as a human being, period. And I still am amazed by all that's on your plate. And I'm like rooting for whatever team you're going to assemble so that you can distribute some of the load because it's a lot.
It's a lot, but same with you. You have a lot on your plate. So not only have you been entertaining us for decades at this point in Hollywood and really just being someone who brings joy to other people's lives, but now you have this whole other, I guess, life where you are now a founder, a CEO of a business, and really kind of getting into the world of healthcare. And so tell me a little bit about what that looks like and what Movement Genius your business is.
Yes. So I'm really fortunate that although I didn't grow up spending a ton of time with my sister, we reconnected many years later and realized as we were trying to recover from particular health issues, the same tools ended up being effective. And those tools were more somatic based tools, meaning body centered approaches. So instead of just going to a talk therapist and trying to verbally communicate what's happened in my past, I learned from the somatic psychotherapist how to understand what was happening in my nervous system, help myself come to a calm and regulated state, be able to process, express, release experiences so they're not stored in my body as stress or trauma, anxiety, etc. So we started collaborating at the top of the pandemic because everyone was stuck at home and it was a different environment and people were used to being able to get outside for their stress break of some sort. And now they didn't know what to do with themselves. It was just us in four walls. And so I led 14 days of live classes online and a whole bunch of people showed up, and that signaled to us, wow, this is not only needed, but people are ready to try this kind of approach, not just top down, but also bottom up. And I hold a couple certifications in the space. So I thought, okay, we can put this together, but who in the wellness space is not getting the attention they need and deserve? And who would be the best team the most equipped to serve this group, these folks. So from the get go, we were like, all right, we need a range of faculty. It can't just be me teaching because, yes, I can teach a certain group with a little bit more, lived experience that resonates. But there, literally everyone else deserves an instructor not only that looks like them, has some lived experience, but also can be way more responsive to like the nuanced layers of what they might be going through on a daily basis. So we decided to assemble a faculty and create Movement Genius. And it is a subscription platform that includes stress relief techniques, mental and emotional health tools, and somatic movement classes that are designed by therapists to help improve mental, emotional, and physical well being. So you can think of us kind of like Headspace or Calm, but we offer more therapeutically informed tools. So if you just need like a quick stress and anxiety relief technique, you can find it. If you want a movement class, you can find it. Or you can join one of our weekly live classes where the therapists come in and it's a session for the community and to feel less alone in your well-being journey.
So, movement genius is kind of a bridge between the head and the body.
Yes, and it's intended to help you understand how to feel safe, comfortable, and confident in your unique mind and body. So you have the tools to manage whatever happens in the day, as opposed to feeling maybe overwhelmed, stuck in habits, or feeling almost helpless in your own skin.
So, a way of kind of interrupting these thoughts that become the way that we live our lives, right? So, what can we do to intercept that so that we can be more functional and actually do what we are designed to do as human beings?
Yes, not only the thoughts that create the story, but also the story that's in your body, where you find yourself reacting in certain moments or feeling as if, your muscles are so tense, you're starting to get backaches in places you didn't expect. And to understand really what it means to, as I mentioned, process, express, and release. So your body feels more integrated. There's more room for harmony as opposed to dysfunction, dysregulation, disarray, because obviously that leads to poorer health overall.
And specifically with the work that I do here at Discover Health, where we offer healthcare education and resources for her, we deal with a lot of people who have pelvic pain. And
Mhm.
so the pelvic pain sometimes manifests because of the stories, because of our lived experiences. And so you're not having any sort of insult or injury currently in the moment, but your body has been traumatized. It has stored that trauma and it is tensing up. So your body is very smart. It's trying to protect you at all times. And so
Mhm.
if we have had some sort of experience with like a painful menstrual cycle or a sexual assault or really anything, your pelvic floor muscles are the things that if you get afraid, you pee your pants, you know?
Yeah.
If you're
Yes.
nervous, you feel butterflies in your belly. And so that's all tied into the pelvic. And so being
Mhm.
able to uncouple the trauma and the physical manifestations of those lived experiences is so important. It's so important. It's so much of the work that I do. Like, hey, you're coming to me for pain, but we got to unpack more than just the pain. We have to talk about these experiences and how we can move past them so that you can have flow in your body so that your energy is not stuck with these tight pelvic floor muscles.
100%. And it's interesting because when we think about mental health and physical health, we tend to separate them. And when we're viewing the body, we tend to view it more as an object that we're fixing or a project that we're trying to complete and have it look a certain way from the outside, as opposed to, first of all, it's the home of your actual experience in humanity, and it's a source of deep intelligence. We just don't necessarily learn that language the same way we do growing up and focus on verbal, logical processing from the neck up. And so, this language in our body is critical to us understanding who we are. And when folks talk about the power of meditation and mindfulness, while yes, that is, studies are showing how much that can improve clarity and brain fog and energy levels and overall peace, Well, we can't just stop there. There are more tools we need in the toolkit that help us with emotional processing. Really, things that I wish we all got from first grade on up and that were modeled in our households. But, in our society at the moment, we live in quite a disembodied culture. And so a lot of us are learning how to return home to ourselves, to rebuild trust with ourselves, especially for people who are experiencing so many other layers of stress that are causing the sense of being taxed and corroded against your mind and body every day. So, our tools have resilience in mind because a lot of times I think when people think of the word wellness, especially kind of like the whitewash, skinny white yoga version in the States with the green juice. I honor that is someone's journey. And also, when we think about maybe the shadow side of that, it starts to paint wellness as this journey that is meant you're supposed to feel good and peaceful all the time. And in reality, we actually want you to feel like, no, I'm equipped and resilient for the inevitable lows and highs. So I know how to bring myself back to equilibrium. And, there's a difference in the words. Wellness, as it's depicted in the States, is often like homeostasis. How can I be perfectly calm all the time? And there's also this word allostasis, which is more about, okay, I had a little bump in the road here. I had a little twist and turn here. How do I come back to homeostasis? And that muscle, learning how to return home after you've been out and about, is what I've experienced personally and what we see with our community as that like true self empowerment. Because now we know, no matter what, how to get home. And that's like such a relief to a body that's used to being stressed all the time.
I love that. So we or you and your business, you're promoting recovery. So you're not saying that you will be perfect all the time, that you will always be at ease, that you will never have any sort of insult, but what you are promoting is a tool to be able to recover from that insult so that you can go back to living your life out of pain.
And to prevent, right? Like these are preventative tools. So as you practice them and they're in your system, you increase your window of tolerance. You can experience more discomfort and not feel like it ruins your whole day or that you then take it out on your relationships. Like you actually expand. Whereas I think a lot of times in wellness spaces or even with younger generations discussing mental health issues, I'm hearing that, some of the solutions we're looking to are to shrink and to say, no, I'm going to avoid anything that feels difficult. And I'm saying, listen, if you need to set that boundary sometimes, absolutely honor that. And when life demands that you do figure it out and get through it, I want you to know how you can do that without falling apart.
Right, right. So it's the muscle that you build. And just like any
Mhm.
other muscle, it definitely takes practice and it is a skill.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, but you can really experience powerful transformation. Truly, like you can retrain your nervous system out of that survival mode. And maybe just to make sense in real life for people, I recognize that many of us, many folks are going to have to be in some level of survival mode at most times. So this might be something that is your 5-minute bathroom break at work in a really hostile environment. This might be your 10 minutes before you fall asleep just to find center and grounding. It will not fix the external circumstances, but can it become one method to improve your quality of life while you're experiencing everything?
I love the idea of the body actually being a language, a form of language. You said that, and that really stuck with me because your body is trying to tell you things at all times. And
Mhm.
when we are so disconnected from our bodies, then we ignore those messages that might actually be trying to keep us safe. And
Right.
so everything just becomes dire and we just shut down completely. And so we don't get those messages. And so we don't listen to things that maybe would have been a little bit protective for us. So
Right.
this idea,
You
especially when it comes to like pelvic pain, right? So, yes, things may hurt, but when you just start ignoring it and just becoming tight all the time, that translates and turns into persistent pain all the time. But if we were able to just connect and say, okay, what language is my body trying to share with me? What is it trying to say? Okay, maybe I'm a little bit dry. And if I can honor
Okay.
that, listen to that, and advocate for myself to show up to my office or someone else's office and say, hey, this is what's happening. Let's go ahead and fix it. Right. Be protective in the long run versus just letting things slide and then it does not get better. It's only going to get worse over time. And that's not just
Mhm.
pelvis, that's for the entire body. We just continue to
Right.
degrade these mechanisms that are designed to protect it.
Right. But I do want to honor, and it makes so much sense that for a number of reasons, people, including myself, after a chronic experience of stress, we do disconnect. We do, for some of us, we fully dissociate. We split from our core sense of self. And it's a coping strategy. And mind you, like from an evolutionary standpoint, it was our best attempt to survive in certain moments. And so I honor the reasons why someone might feel like when you're talking about coming in with information to a doctor, like some people are like, I'm not even aware of my body to be able, let alone name something. I have to actually rebuild awareness. And even before I do that, I have to help my body know that it's safe enough for me to feel whatever I'm going to feel. Because if I haven't been holding my emotions consciously, some of us are afraid, will I explode? Will it be too much? And also, what's been stored in there for so long? What might come up? So, this process of rebuilding awareness with your body, it must go at your pace. And I worked with a somatic psychotherapist for multiple years before I was even able to name the sensations in my body. I mean, I went so slowly. I had a certain number of traumatic experiences that I had unconsciously chosen to block out. And so, as I was beginning this work, thankfully, my therapist really recognized, oh, we need to titrate this, right? So you can handle a little bit, just a little bit, just peeling back a little corner of something. And then we're going to return to creating safe space. And for me, that safe space was actually going numb for a while. I actually was like, safety for me right now is being numb. So I can feel an ounce and then I need to be numb again for a little bit longer. Slowly but surely, I was able to start feeling different things, naming them, and we moved at the pace that my body could manage. Because the second that you try to jump forward, now we're just further severing the trust. And your body's going, "What? Now you're still forcing me to do something I don't want to do. Like listen to me. Slow down. Be with me. Hear me in this." And like as someone who's recovered from certain eating disorders, even that was a part of the process of hearing and feeling hunger cues and fullness cues and shifting to intuitive eating as opposed to what does this magazine article and diet fad say I should do, even though it was written for some generalized population and it's built on pseudoscience and like advertising dollars from diet and fitness companies. Let me really check in here with my own vehicle that I'm driving through this world. So this process is like, you got to move at your pace. You got
Yeah.
to honor what you need. Yeah.
Yeah, and you definitely have to trust yourself, especially when it comes to allowing providers to come into your world. You can't really trust me unless there's some level of safety and trusting yourself that you have made the
Mhm.
right decision, that you have chosen the right person to trust, that you will be safe, that you can recover from any sort of discomfort that you experience throughout this relationship. So really
Right.
doing that inner work with yourself and learning to trust yourself and learning to listen to that little voice that is your body, right? And
Right.
really the foundation of having a healthy relationship with your provider and making those
Yeah.
strides towards healing.
Yeah. And what is that like for you knowing that you're wanting to help someone cultivate trust with themselves, but it might also be the first time they've ever tried to do that, or at least
Well,
in recent
yeah.
years? Like, how do
How do you
you help build
help
a
trust?
trustworthy environment with them?
That's a great question. Thank you. I think the first thing is by empowering clients and really trying to take away some of the dogma and the power struggle that comes along, especially practicing intimate medicine. And so, practically, what that looks like, it looks like me saying to people, consent is only consent if you can withdraw it. right? So I use I say those words and I encourage them to use their voice and say, "Hey, I don't like this anymore. I know I signed up for the exam, but I no longer want to do it." So that's a
Yeah.
priority for me. Another priority is making sure that they understand that it's not something that I do to them. It's not a gift that I am giving them. I am
Mhm.
just helping them along the journey and giving them the tools because they are the ones that are doing the work. So
Yeah.
that looks like if we're doing an exam to understand your anatomy, it's not just me looking. It's here's a mirror so that you can see everything that I see. Here's a high
Mhm.
resolution camera so that we can take pictures so that you have a full understanding. It's me using the language that I use in my notes with the client and explaining it to them so that when they go to Google and inevitably do that research, they have an understanding of what it is that we're talking about. They can access that language.
Wow. That empowerment and restoring a sense of bodily autonomy and agency is essential, of course, and also, wow, so special. Like, it's amazing to hear that as your approach. Because I know I've worked with many providers who perhaps just have a little less personalized approach. And you go there and you leave going, I hope they did their job well, but I don't know really what happened. And to hear that you want someone, it reminds me, my friend, when I was having car issues, said, you must go to this one place because not only are they going to fix the car, but they're going to teach you about your car along the way so the next time you come in, you're not going, I don't know what's going on. And I go there every time now because I leave more educated and empowered. And to know that you're providing that kind of space for someone in their own skin, oh, it's like so special.
Yeah, thank you. It really is my life's work is to educate, right? And to empower other people so that it's not, again, me doing something to you or for you. This is
Yeah.
my gift is education. That is what God has gifted me. And so I just have to educate you about your diagnosis, about your own body. And when you come back and see me and you've done your own research, we can go over it together. I love when clients are like, oh, I was looking this up and this treatment I have read about on Reddit or I did this. And I never judge and say like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that." No, the conversation is good job, good for you.
Mhm.
Taking
Yeah.
that step for trying to advocate for yourself. And then now let's unpack it. And now you trust me and you understand like that we have a relationship where I'm really trying to get you to know more about your body. So when I give you that feedback of, okay, that's what they said, but that's not necessarily what the research shows, then you're
Yeah.
going to be more willing to listen to me and not just read it because you're like,
Right.
she's talking about.
Right. And I love that. I was just speaking with a friend yesterday about a holistic practitioner who was offended when someone brought outside information that kind of laid bare there were some issues with the treatment and approach. The client was having worse health issues. And so whatever was prescribed just happened to be something that didn't work for them. However, the practitioner's stance was to kind of take offense to it and to try and defend themselves. And I understand why, if you've put time and energy and money into, especially nowadays with the pressure of building a personal brand and like trying to say this works through and through, you don't want anything that challenges your credibility or what have you. However, to see your humility and the posture you take of like, at the end of the day, this is a collaborative experience. And if I'm doing my own research and I'm continuing my own self education and I'm staying open, sort of with the scientific orientation of this is just a hypothesis until we disprove it, then like it leaves room for more education bi-directionally. Like maybe someone will bring something to you and you'll go, whoa, that is a nuance or a layer I don't normally integrate. But absolutely, I see how that can play a role in your journey. Or, like you said, you'll be able to be like, okay, cool. Thank you for doing that research. And you should know on my side, I've been looking at all of these journals already. And it just so happens that this article got popular in the pop culture space, but really, here's what the most cutting edge research is showing. So let's talk about it. It helps the practitioner forever have a sense of humility. We are continuing to learn as well and refine, but also you can trust us because we are committed to making sure the expertise is as legitimate as possible.
Right, right. And also, like, I cannot let my ego get in the way of your healing and your healing journey, right? I can't let this idea of I got these degrees and I worked so hard and I've seen X amount of patients get in the way of your experience. Because again, this
Yes.
is not me doing something to you. This is your experience. And I'm just here, if you are willing to listen, to give you the advice. And a
Awesome.
lot of the things that I've actually curated for my practice, namely like products, right? I have an entire shop of expertly curated products. And a lot of those products clients brought to me. Hey,
Mhm.
I've been struggling with vaginal dryness, and this is a product that I really enjoy. Maybe you should research this, and this is something you can recommend to other clients. So
Mhm.
my entire catalog of products that I provide, I don't put something on the website until I've had clients say, like, yes, I vouch for that. That has worked for me, you know?
Yeah.
Not top-down approach, it is very much collaborative. Tell me what works for you, and then maybe that can help the next person, and it can
Right.
really be transformational for them and for me as the provider.
Right. Yes. My friend yesterday, we were just having the conversation around hierarchies and power dynamics and access versus lack of access. And it was related to the Hollywood industry and particularly supporting dancers who are often quite disempowered in the process of auditioning and getting hired, and then how dancers are treated. It really is like this horrible subculture in the industry that we're striving to improve. But just looking at the power of hierarchy, not only in the way that it does have material consequences on people's lives, those who have not, but also just on how people view themselves based on the positionality that society gives them or that they're currently experiencing. And so you enter a space and you're used to a provider, a practitioner, a doctor being somehow in an elevated posture. And while the respect is definitely deserved and there's a reverence for the training, to know that some providers actually care about a collaborative experience is that's for me, that's a little foreign compared to how I grew up viewing power structures. And to know that some practitioners actually care about empowering and not just maintaining their position of authority, but saying, it's okay. I want to actually elevate you to be empowered in your own life is, I mean, fundamentally, like that's the systems change we're looking for.
Revolutionary, revolutionize women's health to revolutionize intimate medicine. So
You're
if
doing it.
I'm trying, friend.
Yeah.
Oh man, it is always such a pleasure just to like be in your presence. The vibes are so good. Your aura is
Likewise.
such a blessing. I'm so proud of the work that you're doing. So please let the folks
Thanks.
know, how can they find you and how can they participate in movement change?
Yeah, yeah. If you want to, I'll get you a code. I don't know if you add them into your descriptions. We could maybe use the code just her, HER. And if that changes, I'll let you know. But we can get you a discount code to sign up. And you can go to movementgenius.com. You can follow us on Instagram and other spaces at Movement Genius. And you can also follow my personal accounts if that's helpful, Alyson Stoner. Yeah, definitely check out. We have a getting started toolkit if you're just like, I don't really know what this is about yet, but I'm curious. You can learn 10 simple stress relief tools that are less than 10 minutes a day. And that's something you can even do that on the 7-day free trial. So when I tell you I'm not out here just trying to get your money, also our rates are so affordable. It's not even funny. So that's not it. I just want you to feel like you know how to manage whatever's coming up for you right now. And if you need anything, you can also just send us a direct message. It's a small team. We're very much like it's not some big corporate conglomerate. We are a small community and we care. So you can email us hello@movementgenius.com.
Perfect. You
Mhm.
are really changing lives and so proud of the work that you're doing. And I can't wait to see
Likewise.
how we can continue to collaborate.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to have you on to teach a class.
Yes,
We got to do that.
I
We
would
just had
love.
an amazing class on internal family systems therapy, and it was like so informative. And I thought of you. I was like, oh, this would probably be a little bit of the vibe with education, but some interactive prompts and discussions. So we'll have to get that on the books.
Any opportunity to talk is one that I am excited about. So
Amazing.
Yeah, well, thank
Amazing.
you for joining me on the podcast and helping us tame the taboo. And we look forward to seeing what else you have coming up in the pipeline. Have
Yes,
fun with episode.
likewise. Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Tame the Taboo. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Send this to your girlfriend so they can join you on your journey as we transition to our healthiest, wealthiest, best selves. See you in the next episode.